ZvP 56-3给自己点一个赞，冠军。
I don't think Serral has any chance to save this one, but he continues.
It gets killed coming back, and Bunny just doesn't seem to have the numbers.
谁呢？这这
Didn't even notice the Liberator in the main base, I think. So many probes are going down right now.
Oh my god, they're trying to get back, but they can't, and so many are picked up.
A big clump here from Curie. Tries to split everything up.
결승가는 열립니까?
Giant force of Fadelings rolling in and clearing the hell. That's massive.
Mario is once again. Raider has done it.
Serral did it all, and he is a well-deserving champion.
And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day here. Another day of World Team League WTL. World Team League? Sorry, my apologies. Masters Coliseum 8. I'm, of course, your SciVip. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the people in the chat, and by my plushies as well. Welcome one and all to the group stage of Masters Coliseum. Oh boy. Last night, of course, we were live with day number 1 of Group A, and we were able to embrace at least half of the group. As a reminder, this is a round-robin group stage, and Group A consists of 4 amazing players. You can see them here before you: Astrea, Serral, Shin, and Cure. Oh boy, very stacked group. I mean, all the groups are stacked. As you can see them all before you: Group A, B, C, and D. Of course, a all-around robin, and we'll be casting every single group here live on the CranKy Ducklings. As always, Papi, as always. We'll be casting it live. This is going to be a tournament that is going to be lasting until the end of January. On top of that, it doesn't just last till the end of January. Every weekend, every Saturday and Sunday, we have you some Masters Coliseum going through the group stage first, then into the playoff bracket. We have tonight's matches here. It's going to be Serral versus Astrea, Serral versus Shin, and Shin versus Cure. Oh boy. And so far, when it comes to the standings of the group, Astrea has been on fire. Astrea took down both Shin and Cure. Astrea was on fire last night. If you missed out on it, I do recommend the VODs. I recommend the VODs because Astrea, he was on top of the group, he's on top of the world, but now he's up against the best Zerg player in the world. He's up against Serral. Serral versus Astrea is going to be coming up next. It's going to be a brutal PvZ. Serral is going to be coming in as the heavy favorite, but Astrea has been on point, and I want to believe that Astrea can cause an upset. I want to believe, Papi, I want to believe. We'll soon be embracing that matchup. Likewise, we have that ZvZ between Serral and Shin. Likewise, a ZvT between Cure and Shin to end the night. 3 best of 3s. As a reminder, it's going to be a best of 3, not a best of 5. Meanwhile, you can see here the ratings on Aligulac here for who will make it out in first place. 1.25% for Astrea, and he is looking so damn good despite that. Take that, Aligulac. Imagine people citing Aligulac for stats, Papi. Ay. As we have a look here at some of the historical records between Astrea and Serral, you can see that quite heavily in favor of Serral. Serral winning every single series that they have faced up in. Astrea has taken maps, but only maps, never a series itself. So we'll see if Astrea can win a series for the first time against Serral. I mean, there's a first for everything. There is a first for everything here. Let's go, Papi, let's go. Just catching up with the chat, I see Sando, I see Psycons, Easy, Phil, Lajos as well. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenidos todos, bienvenidos. Shema, I saw Trishy in the chat as well. Shema. Good to see you all. And good to see you all also at the start of the broadcast. Sounder resubscribed with Twitch Prime. God, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime. Thank you so much for resubscribing for 49 months. That's a lot of months. That's a lot of months, Papi. Thank you so much for the support, as we are soon going to be embracing the Masters Coliseum. Let's go. We're jumping into the Tenkaichi Budokai here. Astrea has already shown that he has unlocked the power. He has been able to go Super Saiyan, even unlocked a bit of Ultra Instinct as well. But has he mastered it? That is the question. Has he mastered that form? He's going to need to up against Serral. Oh boy. Is going to need to here. As players are currently getting ready, there we go. The cameras are set. We have both Astrea and Serral before us here, and we have our vetoes coming in. Game 1 is going to be on Abyssal Reef. Game 2 on Leylines. Game 3 is going to be on Amygdala. Let's go. We have our 3 maps. We have our bans and vetoes as well. We can see Neon Violet Square being vetoed, Ultra Love and El Dorado. Standard vetoes so far. Likewise with Whispers of Gold, Frostline, and King's Cove as well. Both players have decided to get rid of all the large maps. All the large maps have been gotten rid of, as well as some of the more defensive and more exposed maps as well. So these are some of the more standard maps in the map pool. I say that Abyssal Reef is quite a large map despite that. Not as large as Neon Violet Square, of course, but very defendable, and I want to favor Astrea here. Something that I spoke about last night that we didn't really get to embrace is Astrea's late game. Astrea, he has very, very well-versed late game. I want to believe his late game can even be comparable to that of Serral as well, if he can get there in a good position, and Abyssal Reef would be a good map for that. To see if he can turtle enough, if he can stabilize, get up to 4 or 5 bases, embrace Skytoss, embrace the late game. Can Astrea get there? If there were ever to be a map for it, it would be Abyssal Reef. 100%. 100% it would be Abyssal Reef. We'll see if he can embrace it. Likewise, we'll see if Serral can stop Astrea from getting there. We'll see if he can stop him from getting there, or otherwise engulf the entire map and out trade him in that kind of game state. Game 1 might be a long one. Might be a long one, Papi. Yeah. And here we go. We're jumping into game 1. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have Astrea, the American Protoss. Let's go. And in the top left-hand corner, we have the Finnish Zerg player Serral for Basilisk. Whew. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is time to get your gamba going. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim this series. Best of luck. Best of luck in the chat. As you do place those bets. Again, Serral is going to be the heavy favorite coming into this. That is true, but I want to believe. I want to believe in the power of Astrea. You can see they're 95.92% in favor of Serral, says Eligilak, but despite the Eligilak ratings here, Astrea has been popping up because we have seen the growth of Astrea here. We spoke about this yesterday, but Astrea, he has been improving so much over the past 2 to 3 months. Post EWC, it's been very impressive to see the rise of Astrea. That's why we did favor him coming into this group. That's why we've seen him take down player after player. But now we have the final boss. The final boss is upon us. Before we get into that, shout out to all the sponsors, of course, of the tournament. Shout out to SCBoy, Doyu, and Pew Pew. Thank you so much to the sponsors. Without them, this event would not be possible. Without them, StarCraft would be worse off. Oh boy. So big shout out to the sponsors. Big shout out to SCBoy for organizing the event as well, as we jump into game 1. So far, gate expand here out of Astrea, just setting up his cybercore, just walling up here on 2 bases. Meanwhile, Serral did go for a 15 hatch opener, just a little bit more efficient here early on, able to get his expansion up and running before the worker has arrived to delay the expansion itself to force an unnatural natural. And so far, so good. We're settling into our game. We are going to be settling in. So far, so good. Whew. And I'm most curious when it comes to, my eyes are going to be on Astrea. My eyes are going to be on Astrea. I feel like Serral is most likely going to play this slow, play it out slow, just engulf the map and get the greater economy, gain map control, and try to delay the expansions of Astrea. I would not be surprised if Serral does go for a slower, later game approach here towards Astrea. That's usually how he does approach this. Meanwhile, oh my god, we are opening up very aggressively here. Twilight Council. It's going to be a Twilight Council opener here out of Astrea. Now, with a Twilight Council opener, this can lead into a couple different things. This could be either a DT-based opener, DTs into an Archon drop into a 3rd base, would be a macro build. This could be a commitment into Glaive Adepts. We could throw down extra gateways, go into Glaives, harass across the map, then expand from there instead. Or this could be a bit of a quirky Astrea build. I'm leaning away from the Astrea build, and I'm leaning towards something more like DTs or Adepts. We'll keep an eye on the Twilight Council and on the gases as well. We're staying 3 and 3 in gas, all 6. That should be, oh my god, that is not what I was expecting. It's gonna be blink and said, let's go. Now, if you tuned into, I believe it was the qualifiers of Master Coliseum, you would have seen this build before. Astrea, he is going into blink, not glaives or DTs. This looks like a glaive based opener, but it is not. This should be a 2-base all-in out of Astrea. We should be seeing extra gateways soon being thrown down, and this should be a big commitment here. You would not rush into blink without good reason. And he's setting up, yeah, even with a proxy reinforcement point as well. Now, bearing in mind, now this aggression, this move out from Astrea will not have a robo, will not have a warp prism, just because you can't really afford it. With all this cash, you're warping as many stalkers as possible. So without a prism, you need a reinforcement point. That is what the pylon and soon-to-be gateway is going to be made for. We have 2 gates back at home, soon to be 3, so 3 gates back at home, and we should be seeing a proxy 4th gateway. There it is, 4-gate blink. Let's go. 4-gate blink out of Astrea. Meanwhile, Serral going to be going for, a Baneling Nest response. Fun fact, what does that mean? That means that Serral believes it's Glaives. Serral, he's getting ready for Glaive Adepts. That is, I mean, Banelings, they do nothing against Stalkers. They are, I wouldn't say the worst option, but they're not very effective. Not very effective against Blink Stalkers, so this is already ideal for Astrea. Oh, the Link Scout! Link Scout does confirm the gateway. Big moment for Serral, and can he deny that gateway from really getting up and running here? It looks like he can. Links, they do divert, and Serral, he will depower this gateway. He will depower. Astrea is going to try to save it. Second pylon is on the way. The rest of the army is responding as well. Blink is finishing up in 1 second. Yeah, the stalkers are revealed. The pylon is safe. And Astrea can warp in. That's all or nothing for Astrea. He throws down 2 more gates behind this. What does that mean? I believe 2 gate, 6 gate all in. Well, 2 base, 6 gate all in is what I meant to say. That's a lot of gateways, and that's only 2 bases. No third. It is completely an all in here from Astrea. Roach Horns on the way. Serral, he realizes his mistake. He realizes that he needs roaches, not Lingbane, to defend. But Lings are coming from behind. They're coming for a surround. One stalker does get caught out, and before Astrea can really get this going, he gets shut down. He's getting shut down. A brutal surround here. 2 stalkers do fall. Every stalker counts. And Serral, he wants more than that. He wants more. He takes out 3 more. 3 more stalkers go down. And that's going to be the winner, taking out the sails here for Astrea. Oof, that was a brutal loss here for the Protoss player, and once again Astrea, he blinked forward, which means he gets punished for the blink, losing another 3 stalkers. And that should be a hold. At this point, another 2 stalkers go down. Too many losses. Too many losses here at this point. When you're going all in like this, you cannot afford those losses. And with that, Serral, he will shut this down. He will shut down the all-in, shut down the proxy. And remember, Astrea has nothing else behind this. There's no Forge, there's no Robo, there's no third expansion. There is no other tech here other than Blink Stalkers. So this is looking quite bleak for the Protoss. Looking very bleak here for our NA Hope. The American Hope, Pappy. He's in trouble. Is in a lot of trouble. And at this point, Serral has bought enough time. Now he's building up roaches, getting a third expansion, joining on up, and looking very secure. As Astrea, he has to make this work in some way, shape, or form. Somehow, Papi, somehow. Gonna be doing what he can while they don't quite connect. Nice dodge here from Astrea. But honestly, he shouldn't be able to push into up the ramp at this point. Does attempt to, takes down 1 Ravager. Not bad. Takes down a Ravager. Forces back the Stalkers. And yeah, as he tries to fight back, I mean, he bleeds out even more Stalkers. You could argue that, hey, he's killing another Ravager. I mean, sure, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it at this point. Too many losses for Astrea. He plummets in supply. Again, the longer this goes on, the worse it's been for Astrea. GG gets called, and Serral, he holds, he defends. He takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Serral does take the first game here. And again, it did come down to Astrea's build of choice. He went for a 2-base all-in. Unfortunately, got scattered. Unfortunately, straight up, just got scouted. Serral, he was able to get eyes on it. He was able to shut it down ahead of time. And Astrea never really got able to build up his Stalker count. Ideally, with that kind of all-in, you want to build up your Stalkers over time. Get up to 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 Stalkers by the time you're barreling down that natural. But we saw that early on, Astrea, he was losing far too many. He was losing groups of 2, 3, 4 Stalkers at a time. And it did add up. It did stack up. And in the end, Astrea, he ran out of steam. Did run out of steam, and now that's leading us into game number 2. It's going to be on a much smaller map on ley lines. And my initial prediction, my initial thoughts coming into this series is now out the window. I thought that on Abyssal Reef, that would be the game where Astrea would play out a longer game instead, would try to macro, would try to slow the game down and get into that kind of more mid to late game scenario. That is not what happens, and that means the pressure is on. And if he wanted to embrace that kind of style, it's going to be much more difficult on these smaller maps. Not impossible, but difficult. As up next is going to be ley lines, so we'll see how Astrea will approach this. After game 1, and considering the map for game 2, I'm expecting some more aggression at this point. I'm expecting something more aggressive, not necessarily a 2-base all-in, but maybe, you know, Glaive Adepts into a third, maybe a DT opener into a third, maybe getting into fast Blink off of a third base as well. Less so 2-base aggression. But we'll see. We shall see. As we are jumping into game 2. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have Astrea. Down in this series, we'll see if we can bounce back. Meanwhile, in the bottom left-hand corner, we have Serral for Basilisk. As we are going to be settling in. So far, so good. Astrea moving out across the map to get his probe scout going. Meanwhile, Serral goes for a 15 hatch once again, getting his natural up and running. And is going to be settling into his hatch gas pool. Here we go. He's going to be settling in. As we do settle into our openers, and again, my eyes are going to mainly be on Astrea here. Serral most likely is going to be more of a reactive player to what Astrea brings to the table, to the builds that he does embrace. As Astrea, just being as annoying as possible, is attempting to delay some of the mining here in the main with that probe. Just being as annoying as possible. From here we can settle in. Astrea going for a gate expand into Cybercore. Now what I should also emphasize, especially if you are a fan of Astrea, is that this match isn't necessarily the most important match for Astrea, because Astrea popped off last night and because he already beat Kir and he already beat Shin. Because of those wins from Astrea, there is a higher chance that he's going to make it out of the group and a lower chance that he doesn't. Because of his performances already. So there is a little bit less weight on this series and on Astrea's shoulders. There is, though, a chance, I believe, if Shin defeats Serral, then Astrea's going to be in trouble. Then it may come down to map score. But when it comes to the greater context of the group itself, again, thankfully, Astrea, he has a little bit that he can fall back on because of his strong performance last night. Behind this, it is going to be a Stargate opener from Astrea. So standard play so far. Stargate into Oracle into a third, I would imagine. It's really after the third base that I'm most curious about what Astrea is going to do. And what kind of build he transitions into. But now poking in, does threaten the third. Oracle's on the way, as I did mention. Should just be Oracle into triple Oracle into a third base. Nothing too wild here from Astrea. Not this time. A crazy game one. It's one of those things where if you gamble like that, you take a chance. It is a chance, right? It is a gamble at the end of the day. Either works or it doesn't. You either look amazing, you look incredible, or less so. Meanwhile, Astrea, he races back home with the Adept. Will be able to expand, getting his third base as we speak. And we'll see what the Oracle can get done. First Oracle's moving out, second Oracle's on the way. Serral's settling into his game. There's that Twilight Council pop. Now, this is going to be an earlier Twilight Council for Astrea. This can go one of two ways, either fast Glaives or fast Blink. I'm leaning towards Blink. Now, this is just a really safe way, and it is a way to be assertive as well. Astrea went for the same build last night against Shin, if you remember, on this very map, actually, if I remember correctly, where he was able to out-trade Shin over time and overwhelm him. So this should be Blink. Now, the way that this Blink timing works is that if Serral were to be going for an all-in, for example, then Astrea would finish Blink in time to defend, and he'd have a pretty strong defense as a result at his third. Meanwhile, here, aggressively, Astrea, he can apply pressure a lot earlier as well, but it comes down to his control. It comes down to Astrea's micro to be able to gain as much value as possible. Double Oracle does hit the natural. 3 drones going to be going down. Meanwhile, if you did notice, Serral did get a full scout. He saw the main base, and Serral, he saw the lack of the lack of Forge. That tells Serral that it's going to be Blink, not Blink +1, or a delayed +1, I should say, earlier Blink timing, which means it is not as safe to try to skip Roaches. So Roach Horn gets placed. Serral knows how aggressive Astrea is about to be. Serral, he knows everything. So with this, Serral, he can go into earlier Roaches, earlier Ravagers, and get ready for the assault. As Astrea moves out, and again, Astrea, he can afford to be aggressive like this, hunt down Overlords to poke in, because Blink is on the horizon. It's soon going to finish. And Astrea shouldn't lose much here. Just poking in, gets an Overlord. You see Serral trying to catch reinforcements, and he will! It does get one of the Stalkers, does try to, I should say, but no, the Stalker does slip away. Whew, very close. Doesn't manage to slip away. Oracles, they come in to reinforce, just throwing down those revelations, clearing up the creep. Astrea looking for another way in. Link is finishing up. Remember, the downside here is that +1 is going to be heavily delayed for Astrea, so upgrade-wise, he's going to be lacking more than he otherwise would. Focusing towards the 4th. So far, Serral is keeping up, setting up for us around. Ling's instead going for a counter-attack instead. They will catch out some Stalkers. Nice blink there from Astrea, will preserve all his Stalkers, does get away. Behind this, going into charge, into a Temple Archives. So Astrea, I mean, again, this is the same build that we saw against Shin, where Astrea, he's being hyper-aggressive with Stalkers, and he's going to follow it up with charge, with +1, with Archons, and with Storm as well. Just a very aggressive, very assertive style here from Astrea. It's all designed to get damage. It's all designed to pick off queens, bases, expansions, overlords, trade against the army. But so far, Astrea, he hasn't been that successful. Not as much as he was against Shin. He's looking for a way in, he's poking, he's prodding, but so far, Serral, he's been able to maintain his creep, been able to maintain his economy, his bases. Serral is on 74 workers, now taking into Hydra. You have a couple of safety roaches on the way, and ooh, Serral does get supply blocked. A big supply block here for Serral. 7 overlords on the way. A laser, is that you? Ay, ay, ay. 7 overlords in production. That will slow Serral down, and Serral is taking up into a hive, into a lurker den. Hydra upgrades on the way. This does give Astrea some breathing room, and once again, another scout. Serral confirms it is not going to be a rover-based follow-up, it's going to be Charger Archon. He confirms the Storm as well. So Serral sees everything he needs to. And he knows that right now, more than anything, he needs to prioritize lurkers. He may even morph in lurkers before his hive is done. Just have them ready. We'll see how safe Serral does play. Now, there is going to be a window. There's going to be a window in time where Astrea has Storm and Serral does not have lurkers. So Astrea is moving out. Wants to make use of that window. And we'll see if he can break through. So far, pushing up the ramp. Clearing up creep. Moving out towards the bases. Let's move out. Zell say, do you hit the northern expansion? The base is going to be denied. Not bad. Expansion is going to be denied. Lings, they dive in the main army. Will they force out a Storm? And Astrea is down to 2 more Storms. Doesn't have many to work with. Did deny the expansion, but Astrea, he was hoping for a little bit more. And remember, that window that was available, it's closing. The window is closing, lurkers are morphing in. Serral just needs a little bit more time. He will get it. 6 lurkers on the horizon. We can see Astrea taking into Skytoss. Fleet beacons on the way, and Astrea, he pulls out. Astrea, he races back home. I say that does actually rotate back around. Once again, rotating towards the south. Several of the lurkers are somewhat in position. I believe there's 2 lurkers towards the south. The others are with the main army. Storm's going up. Catching a queen. Grazing the Lings. Another Storm gets baited out. There's still more Storms available though. But Astrea, he cannot push up the ramp, not into that lurker. And the longer this goes on, the more lurkers are morphing in. Which is why Astrea, he needs that Skytoss. And there it is, 2 more Stargates. That's going to be triple Stargate production. Fleet Beacon is done, and getting into Tempest, Carrier, and Mothership. So Astrea, he's soon to take to the skies. And so far, he's done well for himself. He's on 4, soon to be 5 bases. He has map control, more importantly. What I will say is that Astrea was hoping for more damage. He was hoping to trade a little bit better and engage with the army and maybe knock down an expansion, more than just denying 1 base. So he's still really fishing for any more damage. Nice Storm! Storm does connect. The backup Storm as well. Oh my god, the lurkers, they take a lot of damage and they're all going to go down. Yeah, massive trade here for Astrea. Shuts down 4 lurkers. And will preserve most of his High Templar. I think he only lost 1. The 1 High Templar went down. Tempest production has begun. Expansion gets denied. Once again, nice pickles here by Astrea, maintaining his map control, catching out the roaches. And Serral in a bit of trouble here. His lurker count did take a big hit, and there we go, 5 more lurkers on the way to reinforce. And again, Astrea doesn't have to push in. Ideally, he would love to take down an expansion, but so far, Serral, he's holding his own. And Astrea is more than fine with that. As time goes on, as time progresses, he's building up that Tempest count. At the same time, all Corruptors have hit the field. Corruptors are available. Astrea moving in. Let's move in. Storm's going to be going up. It's going to be 4 drone kills. Not bad. Getting a handful of workers. Oh my god, the field has stasis. That's a lot of stasis. The field is real. Something get baited out now that Serral has realized. Well, that's going to be a cancel on the expansion. Lurkers trying to break out. That's a lot of lurkers. And again, Astrea, he cannot engage. Not into that kind of arming, but he doesn't want to. Nice contamination. Delays +2. Oh my god. The blink gets punished. Don't blink like that, Astrea. Calm down. Ooh. Flanking storms. Not ideal. It's going to be 1, 2, 3 High Templar going down. 1. There we go. 2 High Templars. Soon to be 3. Oh, that was an expensive trade for Astrea. That was not ideal. As Serral, he has now been able to double expand. He's trying to take these forward bases. Taking the high ground and low ground at the same time. And Astrea, can he deny any more bases? I'm not sure if he can. Especially with only, I was going to say only 4. He has 6 High Templar with the main army. And more High Templar coming in. Plenty of storms. Archon's now morphing in as well. Tempest count looking quite healthy. He's on what, 5 to 6 Tempest. Second Cybercore for upgrades. Serral is trying to be active, and again, it's on Serral here to try to break the defensive line of Astrea. Not sure if he can. Gets a cannon. Nidus on the right hand side. Nidus does finish up. Now Serral can rotate. Pushing towards the south as well. Astrea, can he keep up? And that's a lot of lurkers. Does spot the Nidus. Serral trying to spread apart his attention. Does attempt to. Mothership is in position. Recall is going to be available. Bear that in mind. There's going to be that recall. And again, as we were saying before, Astrea has no reason to push out. He has no reason to push out. It's all about defending. All about defending and refining his army. Comes in for a pseudo surround. High Templar gets caught out. Should be a better trade for Serral. Yeah, it's all about vying for map control. It's all about vying for map control, denying fringe bases. Tempest are getting very ambitious here. Mothership goes down. And massive pickup. Mothership does fall. Corruptors coming in from behind. Ooh, but they get zoned away. Yeah, nice map awareness here for Astrea. Knew the army was coming in from behind. Able to zone away. Denies that center expansion. So far, Serral, his base count in his bank isn't really looking too high here. Sure, he's got 4,000 minerals in the bank and 2k gas, but Astrea, he's keeping up, like, resource-wise. There we go, Serral trying to collapse in. It takes a massive storm to the face. Oh my god. Yeah, the storms are brutal. Corruptors, they get very low. Very nice kiting here by Astrea. And again, we spoke about this before, coming into Abyssal Reef, how I was saying that Astrea, he has some of the best late game PvZ in the world. Which is why I assumed he was going to go for this kind of style on Abyssal Reef. That didn't happen. It didn't happen on Abyssal, but we're getting there here on ley lines. And this is where Astrea can thrive. It would have been nice if he tried to go here in game 1 as well, but regardless. He's holding his own. Broodlord's now on the way. 5 Broodlords and 5 Infestors. Again, Broodlord Infestor is part of the most ideal composition here for the late game for Serral. Tempest pushing in. Another expansion going down. Very nice pickup. But Astrea has to be very careful here as he denies another expansion. That's a kill, not a cancel. Very nicely done. Serral desperately double expanding. Again, Serral does not have a bank. He does not have a bank. He's being starved out. Typically, ideally, the Zerg player wants to be up on bases. He wants to be up in expansions and up in economy. That is not the case here. That is not the case for Astrea. Gets another kill, another base. Sorry, it was not the case for Serral, is what I meant to say. As Serral, he's hurting. Serral, he's hurting. He's burning through his bank. He needs an expansion soon. And it's all on Astrea to rotate. To just keep rotating and keep denying the fringe bases. Again, Astrea doesn't have to push into creep. He just has to deny these expansions. And once again, another cancel. That's all he has to do. Just rotate, cancel bases over and over and over again. And behind it, just build up a greater economy. Build up a greater bank. Serral, he needs this expansion. He has to fight. The fungal! Ooh, massive fungal connects. The 1-eye Templar goes down. 2-eye Templar go down. There's 3 left. Ooh, yeah, massive fight here. But last the Archons, they hold their own. The Tempest, they survive. Astrea, he's holding. Astrea doesn't lose too much there. He lost mainly High Templar. The Tempest, they hold their own. Serral goes for run by, but last, Astrea's in position. Here we go. As 10 Bishop's going to be going off. Base goes down, nicely done. Takes down the expansion. Serral, he has no bank. He has almost no bank at this point. But what I will say, even though Serral, even though he's starving for money, he has a terrifying arm. Like, he can still take a fight. I do see people pointing out, and I did notice it myself, that every now and then there is like a frame drop here or there. I have noticed that myself. We are casting from a clean feed, so we have no control over that. You saw it there as well. But we are casting from a clean feed, so that is out of our hands, unfortunately. Feels bad, man. We are not in game, so those are just dropped frames from the observer PC, from whoever is observing. Just as a heads up. Thankfully, it doesn't happen too often, thankfully. It's like every now and then, there's like a frame missing. As Astrea, he does push in, once again going for the fringe expansion. Oh, Fungal doesn't quite connect. Nice feedbacks. Very nice feedbacks here from Astrea, but the Fungal will still come in. Oh, High Templar get caught out. There's only 3 High Templar. Oh, yeah, it's not enough High Templar. 3 of them do fall. No more storms. And Serral, he will save the expansion. And this is a very important, very crucial moment for Serral. What just happened? Serral, he is triple expanding. He's taking top left and the 2 center bases. He's taking 3 bases at once, and if they get up and running, then Serral can maintain himself. So there's a lot of pressure on Astrea here to deny these bases. We'll see if he can. More High Templar coming in to reinforce. Storm does zone. Storm does zone away. Expansion is denied. Rotating back down. This base is already almost mined out, so this expansion towards the south is not as important for Serral. Remember, Serral, he's taking 2 bases towards the north. So Serral, he now has an economy. It's getting up and running. He's building up a bank as we speak. And what's scary about what's happening here is that Serral is looking for one big fight. Because the reality is, even though Astrea has a massive bank, if Serral can win one fight, he can just snowball out of control and just win the game then and there. Before Astrea could remax. That's the scary thing, is that this army from Astrea takes a very long time to rebuild. Most likely, if he has to remax, he's going to remax on like purely a gateway army, right? Like on pure Blink Stalker. That's typically what occurs. So it's a very delicate dance here for Astrea. If the fight goes too poorly, it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank, you could just lose. You could just straight up lose the game. So you have to be so careful here. I see someone asking for efficiency. We are not in game, so we can't show that. As Astrea does rotate. So far denying the southern expansions, but the northern bases are getting up and running. They're getting up and running as we speak. We can see Astrea trying to do something about it, but there's a line of lurkers ready for this. Astrea trying to push his way in. And doing what he can. Ling's a hit bottom right. Astrea losing workers. Astrea here will lose this northern army as well. Ooh, the Immortals and High Templar go down. Much better trade here for Serral. You can even see Astrea looking a little bit frustrated there on cams. Loses 18 workers, an entire mineral line. Now, to be fair, because of the high bank, Astrea, he can get away with a lower probe count. He can get away with less workers. That is true. Doesn't need as many. Zelsa get forced back. Once again, Astrea just playing the long game. We're just trying to deny these fringe bases. Dives on lurkers. He gets one. One lurker goes down, but he will lose everything else. Mainly throwing away zealots. Again, Astrea just doing a good job here at making use of his mineral bank. Just morphing in wave after wave of zealots, knocking down bases. At least attempting to. Astrea going for the northern expansion. Finally, he's gotten here. Out of the side defense, it's buying a lot of time. Serral, he's responding. Nice zealot run by. As Zelsa get a kill. Not bad. They get a kill, not a cancel. Base does fall. Astrea doesn't like his chances. He backs off. Again, Astrea respecting the main army of Serral quite a bit. Falls away. Rotates once again. Rotating towards the south, actually. Okay. Rotating over. Serral trying to look for the main army as well. Moving in with the infestors. No, the infestors. Oh, my dear extend. Massive pickles. He gets 3. He gets 4. It's gonna be 5. Oh, barely not. But 5 infestors go down. Very nicely done. Serral, he was looking for the army, but he gets caught out. He gets caught with his pants down. Massive recall. Recall comes in. Another base is gonna fall. And remember, Astrea, he has one more recall available. He has a base recall if need be. Gets a mineral line. Gets 11 workers. Astrea pushing in. Still respecting the main army, still backs off. Doesn't engage with the Broodlords. Astrea, calm down. You can see on cams he's getting a little bit fidgety. I don't blame him, but like he has to just keep his cool. Oh, it's Astrea. Serral, he dives in. Show us on cams. Serral dives in. Oh, he barely doesn't get many Tempest. The Tempests get low, but they survive. Astrea once again rotating. Again, it's so important that Serral got the top left-hand base up and running. Like, it's been able to maintain him. He's been able to maintain himself for so long. Zelsa dive in. They get another infestor. Oh, barely not. They don't kill an infestor, but they get very low. They get low. Fungal goes off, catches out 2 Archons and the Oracles. Oh, the Chain Fungal's coming in. And the Oracles will go down. Massive pickoffs. That means no more Revelations, but oh, those are brutal storms on the main army. Yeah, you can see these Corruptors. One more storm. GG gets called as he does whittle him down, and Astrea takes game number 2. Whew. GG. That was so tense. That was insanely tense for so long. Whew. GG, well played. Astrea able to force him into his game. I said this before. If you weren't here for game 1, then I recommend the VODs. But for game 1, I expected something similar here from Astrea. We didn't get that. Game 1, Astrea went for an all-in. But again, everyone knows that Astrea has some of the best late game PvZ in the world. We all know this. We all expect this. Which is why I was surprised to see Astrea go for an all-in instead in game 1. It was like, Papi, what? Yeah, what? You're the best at the late game. What's going on? So game 1 was really, I think game 1 was meant to be more of like Astrea trying to catch Serral off guard. Because Astrea has a reputation for his late game, I think game 1 was to try to catch him off. didn't work out. Here in game 2, we got to see what he does best. Again, Astrea, if you are familiar with EPT NA, for example, if you watch the Americas Regionals, you would know that time and time again, season after season, we've seen so much late game between Astrea and Scarlet. It's like Astrea took that mantle from Need, and that's where he can take it here to the best players in the world. That is the specific scenario where Astrea can take it to the best players in the world. And once again, as we get into game 3, this is where Astrea ideally wants to bring it as well. To try to force that longer later game, gain map control early on, take more bases, gain map control, and work towards that kind of Sky Toss based army. That is what Astrea wants. Serral ideally wants to do his best to deny that from happening. We'll see if he can. We'll see if he can. Let's go. Let us go. Just catching up in the chat. Hi. Can the players see each other's cameras or just the audience? I believe they can see each other's cameras. So the players, they share a Zoom call. They share a Zoom call with the production team. So yes, the players, they can see each other. I would imagine they can see each other. I mean, there's no reason to. Even though they can, it's probably worse if you try to look at your opponents because you want to focus on your game. It's kind of like in GSL, for example, where you have the players like facing off against each other, but there's no reason to look over. If you're watching EWC, for example, Esports World Cup, you would know that they had their desks facing each other, but like you'd never look over. Like, why would you? It probably hurts you more than anything, but here we go. Getting into game number 3, the ace match. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have Astrea, and in the top right, we have Serral as well. Let's go. But yeah, if you remember, if you're watching EWC, Esports World Cup, then you would know that at EWC, the players were facing each other, but like you never would like not look at your monitor. Like, why would you? It would, it's not a good idea. They wouldn't do that though. They have honor. That's kind of like the wrong perspective, I think. They could look at each other, but it probably like makes you play worse. There's nothing wrong with looking. Here we go. See the reflection of the minimap on their sunglasses, of course. Of course. If only they were wearing glasses. If only. Here we go. We're getting into the ace match, getting into game 3. We're calming things down here on Amygdala. Now, something about Amygdala is that the rush distance by ground is longer on this map. So when it comes to defending against all-ins, it is a little bit easier here on Amygdala compared to on Ley Lines or on Ultra Love or on Whispers of Gold, for example. So I do like this map coming in for Astrea. This map isn't as defendable as Abyssal Reef, for example, unfortunately. So I'm still a little bit sad that we didn't. That Astrea went for an all-in on Abyssal Reef. Still a little bit sad. But here on Amygdala, this is actually a pretty good map for the late game. The reason for this is because it can be quite difficult harassing multiple bases at once, specifically referring to the northern and southern bases. Meanwhile, that's a 2-gate opener. Okay, Astrea's being aggressive. It's going to be a 2-gate opener from Astrea. He's going to be going for a more aggressive start. With a 2-gate opener, this means a double adept harass. This can lead into a 3rd and 4th adept as well. If you were here last night, you would have seen this opener against Shin. Did the same thing, where he was active, he was aggressive against Shin early on, and led into a more intense mid-game as well. If you remember, we went into initially double adept harass, which, as you can see here, 2 adepts being credited at the same time, and this led into a quadruple adept move out with the oracles at the same time, if you recall. Here we go. Okay. As Astrea is going to move out, Lings, they slip in, they go for the scout, and the probe is in position just in time. The probe is going to fall, but Least does deny the scout. So no! Astrea! As that one Schrader attempt, I was about to say, oh, never mind, like he saves the probe, but he killed his own probe. He could have saved it. Astrea, he's so ruthless. It's a power play here where Serral wanted to kill the probe himself, but Astrea kills it in his face. Nah, I won't let you kill my unit. And Serral's like, you could have saved it. What's going on? Oh. Now, I did say before, in game number 2, where there were a couple of moments where it did look like Astrea was a little bit nervous, and already we've seen a couple of misclicks here. We saw the misclick on the probe, we saw here a misclick on the rocks instead of the lings as well. So Astrea needs to like take a breath. we need to calm down, Pappy, calm down. He's in a good place in this series, but hopefully we can settle in. Ooh, early roach one here by Serral. Meanwhile, Astrea setting up a proxy across the map. Building up towards 4 gates. It's 3 gates back at home and a 4th proxied. When he's just barely out of vision, and here we go. The Adepts are soon to move in and strike that natural. Lings, they get eyes on the 3rd. Lings are across the map. Astrea waiting to pull the trigger. There we go, he does commit, and the Overlord will spot this. So Serral, he does respond. He races back home. He's looking to wall off. Adepts say shade in, but Serral, he does have enough time. He does fully wall off in the end. And Astrea, he is denied. Serral, he's holding his own. At the same time, Adepts they shade in towards the 3rd base, but no saturation. And no saturation from Serral. No drones being killed, not yet. So impressive defense here by Serral, and this was a big commitment from Astrea. Serral did have to cancel the wall a couple of times at least. And Astrea's still looking for a way in, but now there are roaches. Now roaches have arrived, lings are out as well. Serral holds. Serral does hold. Behind this, we do see Astrea working towards Blink. The Forge, I believe, is non-existent, so very late upgrades for Astrea. This was very committed, very aggressive, and so far, it hasn't paid off. It hasn't paid off. Trading decently well against these lings, but Astrea, he needs more than this. He needs more damage. And this may just lead into an 8 gates 3 base all in. Adepts they commit, they're going to be shut down. They get 1 drone. Just the one. Serral defends. Robo behind this. Astrea is taking all of his gases. That is the first sign that he is taking up. Taking all of his gases, throwing down the Robo. And I'm curious where Astrea is headed here. Is the Robo just for the War Prism, just to reinforce? To go all in? No, this is the Forge. Okay. Forge is on the way, so Astrea is taking up. And Serral's in a better position. At this point, Serral, he is in a better position. He does have greater tech, greater upgrades, knocking down bases, establishing his economy. There is so much pressure on Astrea right now to get some kind of value. Otherwise, I mean, he's falling behind. He's trying to go for the expansion, but Serral's just buying time. Yeah, lings have arrived. Nice force fields. They do slow down the army. Not bad. The lings get caught out. Very nicely done. But the sentry falls. That means no more force fields. Astrea trading as best he can here. Shaving off lings, catching a couple of roaches. 14 lings in production. And Astrea has to back off. But this is a very nice trade. Like, Astrea, he did well for himself here. He traded well. But again, he's looking for more damage. Again, that base is getting so low. It's so tempting. So tempting to embrace. Meanwhile, Serral chasing him off of creep, leading out a lot of lings. Behind this, second Robo is on the way, the Bay as well. I would imagine this is for Disruptors. We'll see if it goes Colossi. I mean, if you're down in upgrades, Disruptors are a good way to make up for that, just because, you know, Disruptors don't care about your upgrades, but there we go. Colossus production has begun. It is going to be Colossi instead. Meanwhile, Serral, he is embracing Lingbane Roach Ravager, not Lingbane Hydra. As Baneling Nest has been thrown down, Serral is playing much more mid-game oriented. And Astrea, he has been trading well, but he's still looking for more damage. There we go, drop into the main. Alas, Serral's in position. Does spot it. Does spot it well ahead of time. The expansion's still very low. Oh, he wants it! He gets it! Oh my god, just barely. Barely does get it. Serral coming in for the punish though. Does want to punch the army, coming in for a surround. Ooh, gets one stalker, gets two. Does pick up two stalkers. Nice punish from Astrea. Comes in with a Colossus. Astrea, he's still in this. Playing the expansion, denying creep, he can push in once again. And he will force another cancel. So we'll try to. Base is very low. Wings, they responded to the prism. It's a cancellation. Banelings do morph in. Astrea playing with fire. Pushing up the ramp. Spots the army. Has to get the hell out of here. Decent force fields. Whew. It will slow Serral down. But Vipers have arrived. The hive is done for Serral. And you can see that Astrea, he's taking it to High Templar. He has a Templar Archives on the way, but he needs more time. Does need more time. Vipers coming in. Astrea, does he notice? It might be too late. Oh, the Yoink comes in, gets one Colossus. Yeah, Astrea, he did pull away too late there. And Astrea's being chased down. Nice trades from Astrea with the Colossus swipes. The Colossus are getting very low. Once again, they're kiting the concave. Okay. Once again, Astrea, he outtrades at least the Lings. Zalse tries to slip in from behind. Bit of miscontrol from Astrea. They could have gone for the mineral line. He has to pull away. Building up Archons. High Templar have arrived. He can feedback. He can storm. Whew. Again, it feels like this for the past like 5 minutes. Astrea's been fighting on a knife's edge. Like it's been very intense. Very intense, Pappy. Here we go. So moving forward, pushing into the defensive line. He wants High Templar. He gets one. One High Templar goes down. No! He gets three. Three High Templar. Full massive pickups. All four High Templar. Ay. Yeah, Astrea, he wasn't too attentive there with his High Templar. That was brutal. So a strong fight for Serral. He resets the High Templar count. That is going to delay any kind of storm support. And this does give Serral more breathing room. Gets us around, shuts down all those zealots. Astrea moving in, but again, he should have four storms with his army. These are fresh High Templar as well. They need more time. Ay. So with that, Serral, he can now max out. He can now embrace more upgrades. Setting up for a concave as well, collapsing on the main army. Ooh, another High Templar goes down. Oh my god. Yeah, Serral, he dives in, forces out the storms, decent storms. But now there's only one High Templar remaining with the main army. Ling Ramai cuts into the natural, forces a recall. Ay. Recall into the natural, Ling's in towards the main. Meanwhile, the main army headed towards the fourth base of Astrea. Astrea getting pulled apart. He was playing so well up until that previous fight. When he lost his first round of High Templar. And now Astrea is out of position. The base is going to go down. Lings are getting into the mineral line. And so he'll claim every single probe. 19 probes falling. Roche is back into the natural as well. Remember, recall's on cooldown. Again, it came down to that fight. And with that, Astrea just hasn't been able to recover. Hasn't been able to recover from it. His army is very bare bones now. There's not really much support. And so he's just remaxing, pushing in once again. Catching up a High Templar for a third time. No shot for the third time. Gets every single High Templar. Ay, ay, ay. There's one High Templar left with the main army, but it goes down as well. And that's going to be Serral just overwhelming the forces here of Astrea. I say that. Immortals, they come in to reinforce though. Astrea, he's barely holding on. Just barely. Whew. At the same time, 14 pros went down. Likewise, Serral also falling here in army supply. Oh my god, Jesus. As another 4 workers fall, 18 in total. Things are getting scrappy. Now, something that I did not realize, even though Serral has been out trading Astrea, that is true. Every single time he does reset the High Templar count. Look at Serral's drone count. That's the thing that's concerning me the most that I just took notice of. That is the fact that Serral, he's down to 58 workers. Doesn't really have much of an economy here. He's on a less than 3 base economy, which means that these trades from Serral, he's having a hard time remaxing. It's taking longer to remax than it otherwise should. And Serral is making 44 more lings. So Astrea still has a chance. He's still in this game. It's still quite rough for him, but there's a chance. Especially with Serral just making mass ling. But he's just pulling Astrea apart. That's a kill, not a cancel. That's a kill in the expansion. 9 probe kills as well. You can see that Astrea, he's spread very thin. Just because of that low army supply. But thankfully for Astrea, Serral is still not droning, but he's maxed. Yeah, he has maxed out. And once again, this is what, the 3rd time that Astrea's getting caught out here? Jesus. Like, this location is just so wide open. This is the same location that time and time again Astrea's been taking some bad fights. So he has to back off. The goal base is denied. And Serral's in control. He's in control of this game at this point. He's now getting into his back into Viper production. He's maxed out. And Astrea will have one good fight in him. Like, the plus side for Astrea is that Serral has a very kind of mid-tier army. Again, it's Ling Main Road Ravager Viper, right? It could be worse. There could be Hydra Lurker getting involved into Broodlord Infestor, right? Like, the composition here is very mid-game focused. So even with Serral having the supply lead, Astrea can take a fight, but it's still going to be difficult. See if he can pull it off. Storm comes in. Nice Storm here in the Ling Bane. Going for the feedback as well. Prism goes down. Here comes Astrea. It's all or nothing. We can see Serral setting up the surround, and Astrea, he notices, he backs off. At the same time, we'll lose the mineral line. He's all in. At this point, Astrea, he's completely all in. Does catch the queens. Nice movement. Does bring down the queens. Rotating around. Once again, though, these locations are so open. And Serral, he pulls the trigger. He collapses in. Where are the storms? We get some decent storms, but there's the final storms here for Astrea. Yeah, Serral, he collapses on the Immortals. Immortals going to be going down. Yeah, and Astrea, he doesn't really have much left. And not much left of an army. The final Colossus will crumble. GG gets called, and Serral will take the series at 2-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Serral, he will claim the series, but a shout out to Astrea, because again, Astrea, he was able to remind us once again that he has some of the best late game PvZ in the world. I'm still a little bit sad about game 1. Like, game 1 was a bit of a lackluster game. Here in game 3, it was much more tense, much more back and forth. If you remember, Astrea did set himself behind because of his opener. If you remember, he went 4 gates. Aggression early on with a massive amount of adepts. Did not do enough damage. So the pressure was on Astrea to bounce back, and he did recover. It was difficult, but he was able to recover from that moment, able to bounce back. But then he took some really rough fights, with Serral collapsing on the army out in the middle of the map, out in the open, time and time again. Serral, he would reset the High Templar count and catch him out. That happened 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row. It was brutal seeing that, and Serral was able to recover. GG, well played. Serral does take the series, and Astrea will end up here with a scoreline of 2-1. 2 wins and 1 loss, but not a bad showing here against Serral. Very nicely done. I want to believe that Astrea, he was able to more than prove himself here in this group, and now we're going to be going on a short break. We're going to be going on a break. When we come back, we'll have our next series. Up next is going to be Serral versus Shin. Let's go. Let us go. So from here, we're going to be going on a break. We'll see you guys after the break here for our next series. See you soon. See you soon.